Hello everyone, welcome back to Overcommitting. Today we are going to be looking at the 10 biggest mistakes that everyone makes in the game. So make sure to stay tuned to the end because I can guarantee there's going to be at least one of these that you're going to go, yeah, I actually do that. Most importantly, we're going to be looking at ways that you can fix these mistakes and improve your game. So don't worry, pay attention to all these tips and we'll take you from casual flounder to an unbeatable beast in the game. Section 1, bad mulligans. I think it's important that we start off with the biggest sin in the game, and that of course is bad mulligans. So many times I hear from different players, well, it doesn't really matter, if I've got an opening start then I'm good to go, I can just draw what I need later. No, that's not how the game works. Just because you're playing aggro doesn't mean that you can pull any cards you want in your deck. Whether you're playing aggro, ramp, control, even tempo, you need to be smart on your turn zeros. I said in my previous video, the best strategy to go for if you're ever unsure is to look for a turn 1, 2, 3 and 4 and then an inkable card. But the big thing here is to make sure that you have enough inkable cards in your hand that if you have a bad couple of draws, you can still stay in the game. Trust me, it's all great going, oh my god, I want to get the perfect curve so I can have the perfect start because I'm playing the best player at my club. It doesn't matter because you can turn things around. Be sensible, try and get away into the game and then turn it around later. Rely on your skill as a player to be able to do the talking for you. It doesn't just need to be the cards. I think something that relates really well to mulligans is actually knowing what cards are in your deck. I see a lot of people when they're doing deck checks at the start of tournaments that need to double check what cards are actually there. As a player, one of your first priorities needs to be knowing what cards are in there, because how are you going to turn the game around otherwise? For me, if I'm ever starting a new deck, I want to work out a good couple of options that I can use on each opening line for me. By that, I mean on the play and on the draw. And then, obviously, a couple of lines that are going to work specifically against certain decks. For example, in my Blurple, I normally look for a Yageo on my turn 3. However, I'm not always going to look for that if I've got Steel that I'm playing against. Instead of that, I might look for Rafiki or my Genie. Make sure to learn your lines, get a structured approach, memorize it and build that into your mulligans and you'll do far better, that's a promise. Section 2, overvaluing law instead of the board state. So don't get me wrong, the aim of the game of course is to get to 20 quicker than your opponent, but there's other things that you need to do in the game other than just questing. So many players get a little bit trigger happy and just want to turn their cards sideways and then wonder why they can't pull games around after the other player is caught up. It's because they're a little bit too eager on the law. It's really important to work out if it's going to be a good, valuable trade. What I mean by this is your opponent going to be able to take out your card without having any negative repercussions back. For example, Curse Merfolk. If that's exerted and my opponent challenges into it, they have to discard a card, so I'm happy for that trade. Whereas if I've got a card on the board that only has maybe 1 willpower left because it's been challenged before, and my opponent can take out my 5-cost character with a 2-cost character, it's not beneficial for you. Sometimes it's better to keep your cards upright and wait for the valuable timed quest instead of just exerting everything and letting them take out your board. It's really hard to get back into a game once all your characters are gone because then you have to reload and your opponents are going to have a full board. Sometimes wait, decide if you need to quest or not, or even decide do you need to take out your opponent's board because that can protect some of your more valuable characters later on. Be sensible and think a few turns ahead. Section 3, Mismanaging Ink. If you're a newer player, you might not have heard this term before. More experienced players on the channel, you probably have, but I think it's important that we go through it anyway. This is secret uninkables. There are so many cards in your deck that you need to really value and should never go into your ink. And unfortunately, some players, when they get panicked, just ink them anyway because they think they don't have a choice. Whenever I build a deck, I work out some of the cards that I cannot get rid of. These cards are my win cons for the deck. I need them to win and get me over the line. The best example of this is if you look at the DKP Shark list. Maui Shark and Mana, they are uninkable cards. You should never stick them in the ink because it's the best cards in your deck. It's how you're going to get your win. You've got cards in Ruby Amethyst like Merlin Goat, which you shouldn't be inking. You've got cards like your Ladies or your Piglets in Amber Steel that you shouldn't be inking either. These secret uninkables you should always work out before you start taking your deck to tournament and work out how many you can risk inking if you're in a bad situation. If you've got no unkillable cards in your hand, then yes, fine. If you have to, you have to. But make sure to limit it. Another thing that I recommend is keeping count in your head of how many times you've done this. If you had to stick the Maui Shark into the ink, fine. But take a note so you know you've got 3 left in your deck. When you draw into them, you know you have to value them more than any other card. Try and put something else into the ink that you don't desperately need right now, and anything that you think is going to be crucial to the game, keep it in your hand and wait till you can use it. Hold on a minute, before we go any further, I don't know if you're aware, but 88.2% of you guys are not actually subscribed to the channel. If that's one of you, I think you need to hit that subscribe button down below. Yep, you, go on, help out please, hit the button, thank you. And now, back to the video. Section 4, wasting removal. This section is my biggest pet peeve because so many people do it. Even the decent players that you see at DLCs, they make this mistake all the time, and it's something that all of us can do a little bit better. Wasting our big removal cards. This section has become even more important because of set 9, Fabled. We've lost so much removal in the game that it's going to become so much more valuable. Look at Steel, for example. They've lost Zeus, they've lost Storm, so now they're relying on Strength for a Raging Fire, which isn't the best. Ruby, we've lost Be Prepared. There's so much that is gone now. So it's really important that you only utilise your removal cards when you desperately need them. What I often say to players is if they can make the challenge, use that. Save the removal in the hand for when they desperately need it. There's going to be a stronger card that's going to come out that they're going to really regret not having it forward down the line. I say Maui Shark a lot on the channel, but it's something that's really hard to get rid of because it's big, bulky and evasive. Don't waste something that you don't need to on the Shark. If you have the opportunity to run an evasive character into it, use that. It's okay trading a lower cost card for a big card like a 6 cost, but something that can do ping damage or something that can change a character, get rid of it when it's non-exerted and you're under pressure because they're near the end total at 20, that's when you need to be utilising your card. Don't get me wrong, if you're expecting the deck to be Emerald and have a lot of Ursulas and Song removal, then okay, be a bit more active at getting rid of them because you don't want to lose the card. However, if you don't immediately need to get rid of it because there's no threat of the card being swiped from your hand, hold on to it and utilise it on your opponent's win con instead. Section 5, not respecting your opponent's deck. So, this one's a bit of a hard one for me because I see so many players make this mistake. Don't get me wrong, I'm really happy if you've got your own strategy which is going to help you win the game, but it can't be your only strategy. So many people completely ignore what their opponent's actually playing, whereas you need to react to the opponent, what deck they're playing, not just only what you're doing. If you've got your own strategy, good, utilise it, but make sure that you're adapting your gameplay dependent on what your opponent has on the field. I said in the previous video, one of the best ways to improve is to learn as many decks in the game as possible. That's why I keep changing decks when I go into tournaments, because I want to know what my opponents could be playing. It's really essential and it helps you so much being able to process, okay, it's their turn 4, so they should have this, this and this in their hand. That's good knowledge and you should utilise that. Don't just only go on what you want to do, because it's going to very quickly bite you when you play against somebody that's a lot better than you. Section 6, overcommitting to the board. This one's a bit of a weird one because we might not see it as much in Fabled, because we've lost B-Prep, we've lost Big Sisu, a lot of the mass removal has gone. So really for this meta, if you are going to overcommit to the board, you're probably going to put yourself in a great chance of winning. But you still need to be careful as there is removal options. We've got B-King Undisputed, we've got Under the Sea for larger board wipes, cards that you need to be really careful for. If you think your opponent is holding on to removal in their hand, it's important to hold back, try and work out what they have. There is no point wasting one of your great cards when it's just going to get wiped immediately, because you're not going to get the effect for it. Try and edge out your opponent to encourage them to waste their removal and then play your decent cards down afterwards. By sticking everything out into your hand, if you do lose that, you lose all tempo because you're now top decking. Keeping a couple of cards back into your hand can be really, really useful and something I always recommend unless you are 100% sure your opponent has nothing. If they do, gas like full, but if not, hold back and be sensible. Section 7, not utilising cards for tempo. This one's a little bit of a contrast to the other section, because this part is when players hold back a little bit too much. We have cards like Finders Keepers in the game, which is great value for you because you're drawing 3 cards from it. We have other cards like Elsa or Genie who are really useful to use, and some players just hold on to them for too long because they want to get maximum value out of it. Don't get me wrong, don't just waste the card, there's no point of that. However, if it's sitting in your hand, you might as well use it. If you sit back too much, you're never going to be able to get over the finish line. Once again, it's not just getting over 20, it's putting pressure on your opponent to make them make the wrong plays. If you can put out big plays like a couple of Genies down on the field, it's really hard for them to resolve. Finders Keepers swings the tempo in your favour because of how much cards we're drawing, especially in this meta where there's barely any card draw. If you have it and it's not going to cost you the game, make sure to use it. We want to increase our advantages as much as possible. Section 8. Learn to read your cards, idiot. A little bit blunt, fair, but you wouldn't realise how many people are really prone to this, and honestly, me included. Don't get me wrong, if you know your deck inside and out, you probably know all the effects on your cards. Great. However, I've got a really bad habit of when I'm playing, of my opponent will play a card, they'll tell me the effect, and I immediately go, oh yeah, sure, that's all I need to know. But I don't read all of the text. Sometimes there's other effects on cards, there's other bits of information, and even if you've seen the card before, it's great to always refresh yourself with the knowledge. Don't get me wrong, some people think, oh, I look like I don't know how to play if I ask my opponent to read their card effect. But if there's a card effect on there, save yourself the hassle. Read it just in case and make sure you have a full understanding of what their card's going to do. Otherwise, it can stop you a lot later in the game. We've got Tiana, which is going to become a lot more used in this game. Tiana's effect is when she's exerted, you have to pay 3 more for any of your characters to be able to challenge in without losing 3 strength, which is a massive pain in the butt. When I played in the Store Champs recently, I completely forgot about Tiana's effect because I wasn't paying attention to my opponent's board state. I was busy looking at a bodyguard character. So I challenged in a character and wasn't able to do any damage because I didn't have enough ink left. Completely wasted my turn, and that cost me the game. But it's because I wasn't reading. Even if you think you know the effect, read the card again just in case and make sure to keep full vision on what's on the board at any given time. Section 9. Playing too predictably. Don't get me wrong, throughout this whole video I've literally told you about the importance of knowing your deck inside and out, knowing all your lines and playing the correct lines that come with your deck. However, you need to be careful with this, because if you're playing against somebody new, perfect, you're hitting your curve, nothing to worry about. But against a better player, or for example somebody who's played your deck before, they know what they're going to be expecting on your turns. You need to try and play around that. If they already know what cards you're going to be playing next, they know what to look for, they know what cards to play to counter it. So you need to be unpredictable. Just because it's the card that would normally be played on this turn, doesn't mean it's the card that should be. Sometimes more higher skilled players can try and bait their opponents, act like they're going to be going in a certain direction. For example, with a new set, you could hint that you're setting up a B-King Undisputed, make them think you're going to be hitting some removal, make them panic and make the wrong play. Always keep your opponent on their toes and don't make it too simple for them. Section 10, tilt and tunnel vision. This one is a very obvious one, however, something that not a lot of people actually think about. I suffer it from myself. Sometimes I make the wrong plays in games and I get really irritated at myself and I just can't think about anything else about what I've done wrong. Loads of other players do this too. It's getting tilt by your tunnel vision. It's the worst thing you can do in a game. Getting into your head that I can't win it now, I've messed up, I can never come back. There's always a chance that you can come back in the game. You can't assume that your opponents are always going to have the right cards because they might draw terribly later in the game. Yes, you've made some mistakes, but your opponents are going to make mistakes too. Don't get me wrong, if you're playing against the world champion, they're probably not going to make that many mistakes. But at a local league level or in any of the store champs, I can guarantee you, even top 8 cup players are going to make loads of errors with their deck. Capitalise on that and don't get too hyper-focused on what you've done wrong. Okay, you've done something wrong, but you can make a note of that after the game, correct it for later so you don't remake that mistake, and then improve your game for later. There's always a chance to go back. Do not give up immediately. Right, there you have it. 10 mistakes that almost every Lorcana player seems to make. If you did make it to the end of the video, well done. You are going to be so far ahead over the rest of the player base in your next Set Champs tournament. So you've got a nice head start. Well done for that. If you did like the video, please make sure to hit the like button. If you could drop me a comment, let me know your favourite error that you see in games. That would be great for me to read and I'll make sure to reply back to everything. If you do want to keep improving your Lorcana game or if you just want to help the channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. We've had a massive boom lately and I've went all the way up to 206, which I'm beyond happy with. But I am aiming to get to 250 by the end of August. If you can help me with that goal, I will really appreciate it. But don't ink your Elsas. Bye!